Have you ever seen a purely handmade belt? If I told you that this belt, weighing less than 300 grams, sells for nearly 1,000 yen, would you believe it? To make this mysterious belt, the first step is to use top-grade Japanese cowhide, which is a type of top-layer cowhide taken from cattle less than 1 year old. This calfskin has a distinctive feature. That is its fine surface texture, smooth touch, and the fact that it doesn't easily leave marks after being creased. Making it a premium type of leather, the craftsmen cut along the edges to segment it, and place it into the machine to be uniformly cut into the same size, at which point the belt takes on its general shape. However, this shape clearly does not meet people's requirements. Next, the experienced master craftsman steps in personally, laying each belt flat, and then taking out the long-awaited chisel and hammer. With just one strike, the belt head is pressed into a perfect shape. At this point, we are ready to move on to the third step, which is edge pressing. Edge pressing involves flattening the sides of the belt so that the impurities on both sides are tightly bonded together, creating an effect where the middle is thicker and the sides are thinner. Then the outer leather is laid flat, and a middle layer is added, which is also made of cowhide leather. However, it is much thicker than the outer cowhide, primarily to increase toughness. Otherwise, a single layer of calfskin would easily crack. Once the two parts are completely bonded, the craftsman takes out the ancestral knife to trim off the excess parts. And at this point, a thick layer of adhesive glue can be applied on top. It is important to apply the glue evenly to every spot, to prevent cracking later on. This glue is somewhat similar to tire repair glue. After application, you need to wait a moment, before placing the other layer of leather on top. As for the bonding process, it doesn't seem to require much effort. As long as you align it visually, it won't be crooked. Fortunately, the worker is very confident, and in just a moment, a belt takes shape. To make the two parts more secure, the entire piece needs to be pressed twice using a rolling machine. Only after this step can a special tool be used to polish one side of the belt head. You can see the young man laboriously inserting the belt into the machine, and the edges on both sides are cleaned up at a speed visible to the naked eye. A heavy hammer strikes the chisel once more, creating such neat edges that it looks quite satisfying. A bucket of secret black paint is poured into a bowl, and with a sponge in hand, it is continuously brushed back and forth. This step can be understood as coloring, because when the cowhide on both sides was removed earlier, the original color of the leather was also exposed. Only by applying this layer of paint will it not look oddly colored. In fact, besides this, there is another type of belt surface that doesn't have many patterns and is made of just a single piece of leather. Overall, it is very sturdy and not easily deformed, but the downside is that it feels very hard to the touch. It is said that this type of belt can last for 5 years without breaking, and people prefer single-piece leather belts. Or do they prefer double-layer belts with an interlayer? Next, we begin installing the belt buckle. The process is not complicated. It can be firmly secured with just a strong downward press. However, this type of belt buckle also has a drawback, which is that the spacing is uniform. For people whose weight fluctuates, it seems not very friendly. To adjust the spacing and measure the size, we will now start punching holes in the belt, to help everyone better understand the punching process. Let's take a closer look at a detailed shot. Here I want to share a little tip. Belts, like leather shoes, also require maintenance. Do you know these methods? First, when not in use, try to hang them on a hanger to avoid compression. Second, try to avoid contact with any liquids, such as juice or tea. Third, if the surface becomes wrinkled or peels, you can use an iron to smooth it out. We'll pause here for now. How do you all maintain your belts?